Are you getting upset and feeling stressed when you go home at night? Well, you may possibly be a part of a toxic work environment. We're going to talk about that today. My name is Lynn Dessert, and I'm an executive career coach. I work with individuals inside and outside organizations, and I'll see you in a few minutes. It's never easy to work in an environment where you don't feel good, where you feel stressed, you feel alone. You go home at night and all you want to do is sleep. Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 5 signs that you might be in a toxic work environment. The first sign is that there's usually high turnover. And there's high turnover either in the department, in the position that you've been in. And when I talk about department, it could be, underneath a manager. The organization could be experiencing high turnover, which means that, the toxic environment goes all the way to the top, to the leadership level. But toxic environments can reside within specific areas in an organization, or they can be organization-wide. The second side is that there are negative cliques. And what I mean about negative cliques is that, every organization's got, they got cliques. And sometimes cliques are good because that's how informally information gets spread through the organization. However, if that talk that's going on in the clique is all about negative stuff and it's not about sharing the positive things in the work life, then that might be a sign that there's a toxic work environment also, because the focus is always on nitpicking and negative and all the yucky stuff. The third sign is that the organization values results over behaviors. And let me give you an example of where that might occur. Let's say we have a high performer, and that high performer is a salesperson. The salesperson goes out, works great with customers, brings in lots of sales, lots of accounts, but yet their interactions inside of the organization, the people who are actually getting the work done, the product done, the service done, they really treat them very poorly. And so there's a lot of bruising going on. There's a lot of bad relationships. The leadership team is in a quandary because they feel, well, here's this person bringing in a lot of money. We need to keep them around. But yet there's a lot of turmoil going on in the organization, and they don't deal with that. They don't deal with the behavior of that individual internally. So that is another sign of a potential toxic work environment. The fourth toxic work environment sign is that managers are playing favorites. And I think you know what I'm talking about there. You probably have seen a manager or two that's done it. Now, I would say that this favoritism needs to probably get taken to an extreme. And with that, that could be that, they never discipline the person, even though they're doing something wrong. They're always giving them accolades or, great attaboys when it's not well deserved. And they're also not doing the same thing. They're not recognizing other people on the team or other people in the work group that are doing the same level of work. Those are signs that create dissatisfaction beyond the person who's obviously being the favorite, but the rest of the work group is really feeling the pinch. So that's a sign of a potential toxic work environment. The fifth sign is that there are major communication problems. And communication problems can stem from a lot of different ways. They could be that the manager or supervisor is not holding weekly meetings or monthly meetings with their employees or not keeping them up to date, to the leadership team not informing the organization what's going on with their customers, with profitability, with how to help improve their processes, and that there's just, there's not any communication going on at all, except maybe that subcurrent that we talked about earlier with the cliques, which is all negative. So if you find that organizations are relying on cliques to get information through the organization versus having more structured meetings or communication sessions, that's obviously a sign that there's a toxic work environment. And the last sign is that there is inconsistency in following the policies. Now, none of us like to have policies, but the fact of the matter is, in an organization of any size, it's important to have some policies in place. It lets people know what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing. It dictates the appropriate level of behavior that the organization and the leadership is looking for from the employees. Now, if you find that policies are being followed inconsistently, that can be a sign because management is not, behind what they've written. And, the fact of the matter is if they don't like the policy, you change the policy. But if you're changing the policy because of a protected few or for whatever other reason, then that is a potential sign of a toxic work environment. Unfortunately, there are going to be situations where you're not going to be able to control what other people do. And so it's really going to depend on what you're willing to tolerate. And if it is unbearable, if it's causing health issues, if it's creating situations with distraction, with relationships outside of work, then I think maybe step back, reflect on whether or not that's really a good place for you. And it might be time to step up your job search, go out and find an organization that you're going to love going to work every day, because that's really what it's all about. It's about what you want to do with your life, and you've got control over it. So I'd encourage you to take that step, even though it might be a little scary, but take that step because you're going to feel better when you come out the other end. And I hope that those tips helped you, and we'll see you next time.